We are live. Jeff Hawkins, Paul Fontaine, the Dynamite Show on the Fight Game Media YouTube channel. I want to thank you all for listening, and people listening on the Patreon. I want to thank you all for supporting. And Jeff, go home show for AEW's inaugural WrestleDream show, which comes to us this Sunday on pay-per-view from Seattle, as they mentioned many, many times on this show, as they should. I just want to say before we start, we're going to get right into the Dynamite review here, and after it's over, we might talk a little bit about the WWE cuts if we have time, and who we think might come to AEW, and whatever else kind of strikes our friends. We'll do some all out WrestleDream predictions as well. I'm a little distracted today, as anybody that follows me on Twitter knows, and I'm going to try to forget about what's going on in my real life while we talk about this show. And just heads up to people on the listening and watching on the YouTube. If you're a Patreon subscriber and you want to contribute to the chat, by all means, if it's pertinent to our conversation, I will definitely post and we'll respond and everything. And if you have any super chat, if you want a super chat, we will read any super chat. You could ask us about freaking the Oklahoma City bombings, and we'll talk about it. Like whatever. If you pay us, we'll talk about it.
Bombings of all the things you could have said. And
I don't know. I don't know why I came up with that.
I got 3 vaccinations about 3 hours ago. Both my arms are in pain.
I got to do that too.
And it's still more enjoyable. Well, yeah, I got the COVID shot, the flu shot, and my shingles shot.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, it's just gonna be COVID and flu, but
it was more enjoyable than this show.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, I've been, like I said, I've been dealing with some stuff, and this show didn't help.
Okay, but to go to your setup for this show.
What's that?
Did they actually read the WrestleDream card on this show at all?
Yeah.
Oh, did they? Okay, I missed it then.
No, it was
probably getting water.
It may have been during. I did write it down.
Because I got Collision. I got a rundown for that.
There's only one match that I saw. I think there's a second one, but it was during
it went out black, and then it came back and was Juice Robinson and Andrade El Idolo, and then the 8-man.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there's a lot of technical issues. It was after the Julia Hart match that they did the rundown. So I did get the whole card here. There's a lot of matches on this show on Sunday. We got, I guess, 2 matches for a Collision. But
and as a general question, did this show sell you on the pay-per-view?
Well,
no further question.
That's a very difficult, Jeff. That's a very difficult question to answer because I was getting it anyways. And I will be honest, I thought like over the last
okay. As a go home show, did it do its job? Do you think?
I don't think so. No,
I agree.
But I will say though that we've often complained about AEW not building up these shows well enough, and I think over the last 2-3 weeks, like they've actually done a really good job building up this card. Just this show they didn't stick the landing. That's all. So is what I feel like. The last segment was probably the best thing they did to build the pay-per-view, in my opinion. Like they ran down the card. Let me look at the card here. Okay, we got stuff for the Callis match. They did some good stuff for that. We didn't get anything for Danielson and Zack Sabre Jr. No. We didn't get anything for Kingston and Shibata.
No.
We did get something for Starks and Yuta, but I mean, I don't even know.
We got Starks and Yuta. That was it.
Yeah. We got nothing. We got less than nothing for MJF and Cole against the Righteous. We got
an introduction to the Righteous, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Continue.
Yeah. For the 900,000 people that have never seen the Righteous, they finally got to see them.
Yes.
FTR and Aussie Open, we got nothing.
Yes.
Statlander and Hart, they built that up a little bit. The 4-way tag team match, they built that up. We
had a 4-way match that said, hey, they're gonna have their tag team partners on Sunday.
You're gonna get this times 2 on Sunday. Yes. And if you like this, great. And if you didn't, oh well, you're getting it again. Christian and Darby, they built that up, I guess.
Yeah, a little bit of that.
and Swerve and Hangman. So, not
Okay,
too.
I mean to retract my harshness, but it didn't feel like a hard sell to me for some reason. I don't know.
No, and like a lot of these they didn't. But I mean, we also have Rampage and we also have Collision coming up. So I assume we're gonna get stuff with Danielson and on Collision. We'll have Eddie on Rampage. We know that. So there's still time. But
For some people, I'm not watching all of that, but okay.
They did spend an awful lot of time on this show talking about things that aren't happening on Sunday.
Yes, and that is my major complaint about this. And this was something that WCW would do all the time. WWF used to do this quite a bit, and it drove me nuts. Your main concern on your big A show before the pay-per-view is that pay-per-view. It is all that pay-per-view. It is building it. This is a show you can't miss, ladies and gentlemen. And especially when you have a match like, oh my God, the two greatest technical wrestlers in the world. And they've been, that's something that needs hype, and not just
even
Zack Sabre Jr. not just Zack Sabre Jr. on commentary on an 8-man tag on a show that 400,000 people are going to watch on Saturday tops.
Is that you think what's going to happen?
Oh yeah, I think college football is going to run rampant over.
No, I'm saying is that like is that what?
No, that's what they announced. They announced the 8-man tag and Zack Sabre Jr.'s on commentary.
They did?
Yeah,
I don't remember that.
Okay.
When is there an 8-man tag?
On Collision? That's the main event. Is going to be. I told you about this. It's Danielson and Yuta and FTR versus Starks, Big Bill, and Aussie Open with Zack Sabre Jr. on commentary.
I write down everything. I did not.
It was right after the Andrade El Idolo versus Juice Robinson match was announced.
I didn't hear that either.
Okay.
There was a lot of technical difficulties. So maybe that's during those technical difficulties. Because I'm reading, so I pulled up the Observer because I was worried that I was going to miss stuff. They don't even have that. They've got the Andrade El Idolo and Juice Robinson match, but they don't have this 8-man tag you're talking about.
Oh, okay. With Zack Sabre Jr. on commentary, basically calling Danielson a wanker for 20 minutes.
Yeah, he's a good talker, whatever.
Yeah, it's fine, but it's not the big match build you expect for a match of that caliber, and that's part of the.
The other thing is
all the hype is on the potential of it amongst fandom, and that's the issue for me.
Well, and that's the same thing with FTR and Aussie Open.
Yes,
really, they haven't done much to build that, to be honest.
No.
Like they did a segment on Collision last week that. I mean,
I thought it was a video package with the UK matches on it. How about that?
Yeah.
That would have been nice.
Yeah, or even just showing them, do with their technical matches, show some New Japan stuff, and I don't know. I'm a little upset. We needed Shivani. Yeah, this is a good one from John. He's a Patreon subscriber. We needed Shivani. Well, Shivani was on assignment. I don't know what the hell that means, but he had better things to do, I guess is what it is. Maybe he's sick. I don't know, but. They always say they're on assignment. I don't know what that means.
Broomfield, Colorado is too small for Tony Schiavone to show up. That's what it is.
Yeah, maybe he's off getting.
He might be doing. Well, you remember he does Georgia football stuff.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, and so maybe that's what he's doing.
So it might have been like a coach's show or something like that. That happens during the week, something to that effect.
Well, we started out with open challenge. Because as we know, and actually like we didn't talk about this, but when we did our show last week, we saw that Ray Phoenix, John Moxley match. And of course we didn't have any clue what was going on. And as it turns out, John Moxley was hurt before the match even started. So, it wasn't the pile drivers or anything. And, and Rick Knox, he messed up by not counting the pinfall, but it's hard to blame him. Like he didn't know what's going on. But Moxley's out. He's not cleared. Yet he's got a minor TBI, traumatic brain injury, and so he's probably week to week at this point. But he's not booked for the pay-per-view. He wasn't booked for Dynamite. We got Ray Phoenix with an open challenge, which was accepted by Jeff Jarrett, and I think Jeff should have probably asked who the ref was before he decided to accept this open challenge, because of course it was Aubrey Edwards. So he comes out with this whole crew, and Karen and Aubrey were getting into it, and Satnam Singh got involved at one point. He got drop kicked to the knees off the apron by Rey Fenix. Phoenix was like hobbling around the whole match. I don't know if he was selling or if he's really hurt.
I was uncertain of that too, but I thought, man, that's a hell of a great job of selling by Rey Fenix, because he never does that. It's like, oh man, look at that. That's some great stuff. Man, if he's really hurt, I'm gonna feel real bad about saying that.
Well, exactly, yeah. Like, because I don't know, like, and he it wasn't a typical Rey Fenix match. Like, he didn't do hardly any of his big spots. It was mostly just shenanigans with the people outside the ring.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, I love this motley crew of Jarrett and company, but this felt like, when we're laying this match out, we have these spots, but we can't make them make sense. But we're gonna do them, like Satnam getting on the apron and nothing happening, and it's just like,
he gets drop kicked and he just falls.
That takes me out of the match. It does, because it's like, why isn't Aubrey like throwing them all out? That kind of thing. The
Karen and Aubrey stuff at ringside just seemed to be there to
get Aubrey over.
Yeah. Like, there was it didn't play into the match at all.
No.
And Jarrett, so Jarrett hit the stroke at one point, but then I think Phoenix kicked out, and then he went for the figure 4, but Phoenix reversed it and cradled him for the win. Like, that was it.
Jarrett was great in this match as the overconfident, I'm going to win this match, and just ultimately getting hoisted on his own petard.
So between the entrances and the match, and I think they went through a commercial. What do you figure this was? About 10 minutes total?
Yeah.
10 minutes of TV time on your go-home show. This had nothing to do with the pay-per-view at all.
Yeah, I thought, okay, maybe we'll get Ray's opponent for...
Nope. Well, Ray's
that's right. Ray was set up
match, in a number 1 contender match for the AEW tag team titles, but who knows?
Yes, and there was also a triple threat for Ray's title for next week on this same show.
There's nothing necessarily wrong with that, because at least with that, we do have a match. We do have a show next week. We got to build up too. But again, like, it's the go home show for the pay per view, and they spent time on that match as well. So. This was fine. It was not your typical opening international title match that Moxley or Orange Cassidy have been doing for the last year. This was honestly a bit of a disappointment. I was expecting better. I do remember when Jeff Jarrett first challenged for this belt. It was in Winnipeg, and I was super hyped for the match, and I was hoping for Jeff to win. I think I was the only person in the arena cheering for every move he did, and I can say that this one I wasn't as hyped for.
No, it seemed a little slow, and Jarrett got kicked in the face. That probably didn't help either.
Yeah, but it happened. So next we got a very, I want to say polarizing segment, because my buddy texted me after watching this, and he says, "Let me guess, you hated this and I loved it." And I'm like, yeah. I mean, I guess if you love it.
Is this a buddy in the industry, or is this an actual buddy?
This is an actual buddy. Okay. This is a listener to the show.
Gotcha.
I won't call him out, but
no.
He loved this.
I know who it is. Okay.
Yeah, and this is the MJF and Adam Cole on a boat. This was freaking horrible.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what they were doing. I don't know what purpose this played. So it's MJF and Cole on a bonding session on a boat. There was something at the beginning where Adam Cole goes, "What the?" and it wasn't MJF's boat or something.
It was MJF's father's boat, and I don't know why there was the strong reaction about the WTF.
Oh, I think it was because he didn't have permission to take it or something.
Oh, okay.
Like, I don't know. So they're sitting there, and Cole's on crutches. And MJF, they're bonding, and then MJF said, "What about that phone call? You were on the phone with Roddy quite a long time." And Cole explains to him, "You know what? Like, it's okay to have other friends, and he's my boy, and we're boys too, and that's okay." And MJF's like, "Yeah, well, I don't really get that, but that's your thing. That's fine. I really don't need more than one friend." Then he goes to get Cole a drink, and he's like, puts his ring on, like he's gonna knock Cole out on this boat. And Cole is not even looking at him. And he's like, "Max, are you putting on your ring?" Like, it's like so stupid. And then MJF puts his hands behind his, "No." And like, oh my God. And then he says something about like, "Oh, the last time I tried to throw somebody over a boat, I almost got caught." and Cole's like, what the, again. And then they're fishing and there's like, oh, we got one. And they're like, oh my God, we got it. And then they focus and it's freaking Big Show in a dinghy with a hook in his mouth. And he takes the hook out of his mouth. And the next thing you see is them all fishing off the side of the boat, drinking beer, and they're all friends. And I'm like, what in the bloody hell was this? What does this have to do with the pay-per-view? I think they mentioned the Righteous at some point in here. Yeah, I think he called them the goofy dorks or something.
I think that was during his. I think that was actually during his live. The live.
Okay, the live one. So maybe he didn't even mention. I don't know
this. I think what they wanted to do was the comical takeoff on Godfather 2 / The Sopranos scene.
Yes,
in boats, where it's like the drama is somebody gonna get killed and thrown overboard type of a thing. And it never got to that level. And it Cole bailing on the scene every time with what the F all the time, as if he's shocked by these scumbag things. And then I didn't mind that as much as I minded then the added tag of the Big Show, which just womp womp went off in my head. And I just go, in his Captain Insano gear.
Yeah.
You're just like, all right, it's already not even good comedy, but it's not even scripted well to hit the beats and to hit the emotional points and things like that. And then we end it with a big sight gag of the Big Show swimming in Long Island Sound or something to that effect, just randomly in a rubber duck type thing. And you're just like, this wasn't even kitschy funny.
No,
at all. And it failed on every level with me.
But yet, like, people are going to tell you that this was hilarious. You don't have a sense of humor. And I'm just like, no.
Okay. I will say, if this had been not people not in the upper echelon of the card, it might have been funnier to me.
Well, they're not. I don't know. This is probably a pre-show.
MJF is your world champion. Are you telling me he's not in the upper echelon?
He's wrestling card? A couple dorks by his own admission.
On the pay-per-view, yes.
Yeah, maybe on the pre-show. I just
question.
And then I don't understand, like, why this was even on the show. Like, regardless, whether it was good or not.
Because we wanted another MJF Adam Cole wacky vignette.
Why? They're writing Adam Cole off.
Because they're popular. Well, maybe not.
Well, yeah, I know. I
am under the impression that this cast may be a work.
I think the whole thing might be a work.
Yes.
In which case, what are we wasting all this time for?
Given the ending of the show, I think Cole's one of those guys.
I think MJF is one of those guys. I think the Kingdom are.
I think the Kingdom are. Yes, that's exactly what. Well, there were 4 of them.
There was 5.
Oh, were there 5?
Yeah.
Okay, then that's them, or maybe
either that, or it's like Wardlow and Sean Spears and FTR.
No, that's what they want you to think. They want you to think that it's the what they call them, the
Pinnacle?
No, the Firm.
Oh, the Firm. Oh God. No, these guys were all skinny.
Yes, and small.
Yeah.
That's why you go, that's the Kingdom and Roddy Strong.
It could be you know what? Could be Kyle O'Reilly.
And Kyle O'Reilly and Cole. That was who I would have. It was 5. I thought it was 4. I counted 4, but maybe I'm wrong.
So no MJF.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, because MJF's kind of buff.
Those are the MJF goons, and they don't want Switchblade getting at Cole's quarry at all. So
yeah, whatever.
That's the way I thought about it. Like,
no, I know, but I just I don't understand. Like, so this whole thing, if it was all a setup and all these guys are actually friends, then I'm going to be even more pissed off because we've wasted all this television.
Well, if it's only 4 of them, I don't think they're friends with MJF. I think that's Cole and the Kingdom.
Well, that's okay then.
Roddy.
That's okay.
That's what I was thinking here.
Okay.
But I also don't need that as the cliffhanger point going into the pay-per-view. Because I'm not thinking about the pay-per-view, because it has nothing to do with it.
Nothing to do with the pay-per-view. Unless, of course, there's nothing. Like, I don't think that's the main event. I don't even know what the main event of this pay-per-view is. Probably Danielson and Zack Sabre Jr., I would guess.
Yes.
And they did nothing for that. Could be Swerve and Hangman, based on the go-home angle. But all right, we got video of Callis and Takeshita in Tokyo hunting down Kota Ibushi. I almost thought this was like staged, like they weren't actually there, like just kind of the way they framed it, but I think they actually were there. Like they were in downtown Tokyo or something, and I was like, what the point of this? But then I guess we found out what the point was a little bit later. And then we got Renee with Callis and Takeshita in the ring, and Renee is like dressed in all black tonight, black makeup, and it was really weird because like Callis and Takeshita were also in black, and so she almost looked like she was part of their stable. But so Callis says he's happy that Sammy's free from the toxic Chris Jericho. And then he brings him down to the ring and introduced him as the newest member of the family. Renee, of course, has to point out that she can't hear him over the booze. It's always good when they point that out. It's better when they don't. And Callis aired some footage from Ibushi's dojo in Japan, and basically Takeshita beat up one of his students, and then Ibushi made the save. Callis hit him from behind with like an umbrella or something, and then Takeshita hit him. Was it a kettlebell that he hit him with?
Yes,
something. Yeah, so he knocked him out, and then he choked him with a jacket, and then Callis gets behind him and starts choking him. He says, "You're not safe in Japan. You're not safe in Seattle. You're not safe anywhere." And then they go back to the ring, and Sammy's getting major heat, and he says, "I'm not a bad guy. I'm the hero of this story. Jericho's the villain." Fans are chanting, "Fuck you, Sammy." And he says, "Jericho clipped my wings and held me back. He never passed the torch. And Don Callis showed me that Jericho's selfish, and I took the torch." And he said, "It's time for me to be a champion and a star." And then Callis says, "At WrestleDream, we'll take everything from Ibushi, Jericho, and Omega till there's nothing left but the tears." This was actually pretty good.
It was just, it's two segments for 2 different weeks mashed together.
Yeah, I guess.
The attack on Ibushi was no Horseman beating down Dusty at Techwood Drive Studios.
But wasn't even Undertaker beating Flair.
It wasn't even going to Buddy Wayne's house and beating the hell out of them.
No, that was vicious.
That was vicious. Yeah. This was kind of dopey in a way.
Yeah, in terms of the beatdown. It was okay.
It was fine. No, but I mean the beatdown.
This was, you know what this was? This was more like an Impact when where was it? Lashley went into Dan Lambert's thing, or maybe it was the other way around. And,
yeah, well, what I was thinking was it's a beatdown where they didn't want to be too violent.
Yeah,
It felt like a worked beatdown and stuff. And I was like, okay, why not the whole family go in there and beat Ibushi? And then Kenny and company come back the next week with a promo and get fired up. "We're going to kick your ass at WrestleDream, blah, blah, blah," on the go home show.
Well, I guess it's because it's Japan. Did they have to go there and pick up Ibushi?
No. But I mean, it's like this happens 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And then this week is the week where they come out and they're screaming fire and brimstone, and they're gonna come, beat the hell out of us for beating up Ibushi, and Ibushi's, bandaged up, and I'll be there and I'll be ready.
Maybe this week we get the revenge promo from Jericho and Omega, and
no
Jericho.
No, that's what I meant.
Yeah. Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah. You're right.
And then
maybe we'll get that on Rampage.
And this could have been Sammy proving he's part of the fold too. You jump him in this case. Yeah. But I mean, but I liked Sammy here. I liked the Scarface branding on the Titantron. I thought that was kind of cool.
I think he owns one shirt.
He's gonna fit in as the flaky lieutenant, and that's gonna be cool. Yeah. But yeah, the beatdown was silly in some ways. I mean, it was good for what AEW does, but AEW's done better. So it's one of those weird things where you have to kind of compare it. But it was fine.
All right, we got an interview with Ricky Starks after Collision. He says, "I survived." He says, "Danielson didn't beat me. I didn't tap. I didn't get pinned." And Wheeler Yuta shows up, and he said he apologized for putting his hands on him. And Stark says, "Next time that happens, you're not going to walk out of the ring." And then Yuta says, "You know what? I was trying to be nice to you, but you're an entitled prick. You're all style, no substance." He says, "You couldn't get up out there." He says, "I get up every day. They beat my ass, and I stand up. And you don't have the balls to do that, Ricky." So he challenges him to a match at WrestleDream. And then Starks just kind of looks at him and walks away. And then so he challenged him. Starks didn't accept. And then seconds later, they say, Tony Khan signed this match.
Tony Khan signed this match.
Yeah.
That and the hey, I was trying to be nice to you, but now I'm going to tell you what I really think about you. Where Yuta's just coming off as a passive aggressive jerk doing that. You're just like, What? Okay.
Are the Blackpool Combat Club baby faces again?
Yes.
Okay. Just checking the scoreboard.
This week they are baby faces.
Okay, yeah, because Claudio was a baby face in his match.
Yeah, I saw people praising Yuta's work here, and I go, okay, if we're grading on a scale, yeah, Yuta's got much better at promos than he was when we were first, dragging
on
him.
This show. He was one of the better promos.
He might be one of the better promos on this show. So yeah, okay, we got we're gonna grade on curves. We got to grade this entire
Wheeler
show.
Yuta out promoted MJF, and Julia Hart out wrestled Rhea Phoenix. We're in Bizarro world.
Wow. Okay. That's a bold statement about the Julia Hart part, but okay.
Julia Hart had a good match.
Look, I'm not gonna dispute either of those statements.
Okay, MJF cut a good promo. I'm not sure what the point of it was.
I want to know how mad James McDaniel is going to be about this show. That man was fired up on the Boom this week.
Oh, I have not laughed so hard. If you have not listened to the Boom yet, and if you're on this feed, you do have access to it. Go back and listen to James. It was a shorter than usual episode because I think they had some technical difficulties. James was on fire.
Yes.
Oh my God. My favorite thing he said, I quoted it. I wrote it down.
Well, no, you misquoted it when he did because you added a lot more swearing than James did.
I don't think I did.
Yeah, you did.
I don't think I did. I'm watching Sammy Guevara and Chris Jericho on Dynamite, and I realized I think what he said was, I don't give two shits.
No, he said, I don't care.
Oh, and I don't care. Okay. He said, I've seen these two on Dynamite every week for 18 years. He's like, Jericho, take a vacation, get some liposuction, just get the bleep off my TV. I was just dying. And you talking about WrestleDream and how, what did he say?
WrestleDream is such a terrible name. By the way,
it would be fine if it was for a woman's show, but thank God it's not.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I was just dying. Yeah, go listen to the Boom, people. So next we got Nick Gage. No, Nick Gage.
Nick Gage was on the show. What did I miss?
No, Nick Cage.
Nick Cage would have been
Jackson.
fun.
Nick Jackson and Brian Cage and Claudio Castagnoli. In terms of wrestling, this was probably the best match on the show. Yes. They just went nonstop.
This was a PWG, third on the card type of show. Or
I feel like these guys probably could have had a better match, but it was, for the time they had, it was pretty darn good. It's just back and forth, everyone doing everything, and bunch of super kicks and uppercuts and more uppercuts and more super kicks. And finishing segment was Claudio gave Nick the flying uppercut. Then he closed on Cage and went for the pin, but the kicked out. Crowd's going crazy. Claudio does the elbows of death to Cage, and then he went for a Ricola bomb, but Nick hit a springboard Rana and stole the pin after, he gets Claudio out of there, and then he pins Brian Cage. So they basically did the WWE stereotype of, like one guy hits his finisher and then the other guy gets the pin. But other than that, like it was a really, really good match. Again, the winner is going to get a title shot at Rey Fénix on Dynamite next week, which is the 4th anniversary show. So they're doing Nick Jackson and Rey Fénix, which was a match from very early on in Dynamite that was kind of, at the time, probably the best match in AEW history. I think a lot of people thought, 8 episodes in. So this it's kind of a nice little callback, and so that's the whole reason they did this match. But had nothing to do with the pay-per-view, but it was fine because Claudio isn't on the pay-per-view. Brian Cage isn't on the pay-per-view. Nick Jackson is wrestling for a tag team title shot on the pay-per-view. So he's got he's wrestling for a tag team title shot, but he's also got an international title shot next week as well. You got that clear? Yeah. And don't ask me which titles, like, are they Ring of Honor titles? Are they AEW titles? Are they New Japan? I have no idea. And I've given up trying to keep track because I feel like the most important belts are actually in Ring of Honor at this point.
No, I'm also laughing. Somebody on Twitter has a close-up of a photo of one of the assailants on Jay White.
Yeah.
And it looks like Roddy Strong wore a sweater over his neck brace.
Oh, God. Oh, that would be too good. Because I was actually thinking, what if it was the Bullet Club Gold that MJF had?
Well, Zellner had Chris Zellner had an interesting one. You thought it was the Ingo Bernables with Andrade back in tow, but no, this looks like Roddy. So
yeah, it's Roddy, it's Cole, it's the Kingdom.
Yes,
like they're all skinny, and good
tiny.
shape, but skinny, and tiny. Yeah, so it's probably what it was. All right. We got a video package for the Righteous. And again, going back to James, I'm fully convinced James only watches Dynamite.
Yes.
I don't think he watches Rampage and Collision because he's really busy on the weekends with his actual job. And so I don't think, well, he says he's never seen the Righteous. And I'm thinking back, I don't think the Righteous have ever been on Dynamite.
No, they have not.
No. So this was the first look that
this is how, if you only watch Dynamite, you are introduced to the people who are going to be facing MJF on Sunday.
And Adam Cole at this moment, until we found out later that it won't be Adam Cole.
Yeah.
But so we got a 1 minute video package, which looked like a couple college dudes doing a video, making, trying to be Bray Wyatt.
Yeah.
That's basically what it looked like.
It felt a little bit like a third-rate Wyatt family vignette.
I wrote fourth-rate, but third-rate, maybe, little bit of Charles Manson in there with.
I thought it was clever that they're. I thought the paper chain.
They had one good line
with the liar and the devil are there together, where it's Cole. It's Cole and MJF are the two figures that they're doing it,
and they also. Go ahead. Sorry.
Well, I was gonna say I saw the extended version of this on social media, and it's better. It really is. It's not bad. This is the truncated part of it. I mean, I'm not gonna say it's great, but the full version of this I got to see on Twitter, and I thought it was. I go, well, that's pretty decent. They should put that on TV, and then they put this version on TV, and I went, okay.
They need more people in this group.
This need to be intercut with videos of them kicking ass.
Yes, and telling us and showing us how they got this title shot.
Yes,
they beat the Hardys. They won a 3-way with, I think it was the Hardys, the Best Friends, and I can't remember who the third team was. Kingdom, yeah. All just like rip roaring.
But there should have been a video package with this promo with them hitting big moves.
Yeah, showing that freaking moon or the swanton that Vincent does. I mean, it's better than Jeff Hardy's.
Yeah.
So it was just this short little 1 minute video package. They did have a good line in there where he said it's easier to forgive your enemies than your fake friends.
Yes.
That was good. Like especially with who they're wrestling. So then of course that leads into we'll hear from MJF and Adam Cole. So this segment. So they come out and Cole's on crutches and he's got a big giant cast. And they walk down to the ring, and like MJF is like smiling and he's like slapping fans with the fans. Like he doesn't really seem to be all that bothered by Adam Cole's injury. He does the boom thing from the apron sitting down. Then he rolls into the ring, and MJF gets him a chair. And Cole said, "My ankle exploded. I tore a bunch of ligaments." And he said, "I'm going to need surgery, but I'm going to get back as soon as humanly possible." He says, "Me and my good friend Max are the ROH World Tag Team Champions, but unfortunately, we're going to have to relinquish." And then MJF stops him, and the crowd's chanting, "No, no, no." And then he says, "You didn't have my fine kosher ass wrestle twice in one night just to relinquish them to these geeky dorks, the Righteous." And he asks the crowd, "Do you want to see us relinquish the belts to the Righteous?" And they say, "No." And MJF says, "Let's keep it real." He says, "You wouldn't be hurt if it wasn't for me. However, I know how much these belts mean to you. And when you come back here, and you will, because you're one of the best of all time, these belts will be waiting for you. Righteous, the Devil's going to slide in Seattle, and I'll defend these titles in a handicap match, and we'll win because we're better than you." And before Adam Cole can say baby, Adam! At this point now, the crowd's chanting with him when he does it. Like, it's starting to get over. He's out there in his wheelchair and his glasses. We found out later he's got a custom-made wheelchair that says Hot Roddy, neck strong. It's just beautiful. And he says, I need you more than ever. He says it's an emergency. And MJF interrupts him and he calls him a simp, and the crowd starts chanting simp. And then MJF says, you know what, Adam? He says, I learned a lesson on that boat. He's your boy. And I respect you enough to respect that he's your boy. So you go do what you got to do, and I'll be waiting for you when you come back. So they hug. MJF folds up the chair. I thought maybe he's going to hit him with it, but he hobbles out of the ring, and the fans are chanting, he's our scumbag. And he goes off with Roddy. And I'm wondering, what the hell? Why did Adam Cole, what does Roddy need Adam Cole for in this very moment?
It's an emergency.
Well, yes.
That's all he has to say is it's an emergency. And
they had to go get ready or go attack Jay White, I guess.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Which I get.
We have a costume change.
Yes. I need your help.
We need to get that cast off because it's method acting and it took a long time to put on, but we need to saw it off so that you're not limping around when we're beating on Jay White at the end of the show.
Or we need to find you big enough sweats to cover the cast.
Yes.
Put a thing over the cast. So so he leaves, and then MJF is, I don't know what he was gonna say. I guess he was gonna cut a promo on the Righteous. I'm not sure, but before he can say anything, Jay White interrupts him, and he comes out with the whole Bullet Club gold, and Jay White sent them all back, and fans are chanting "Too Sweet," and then that dies down, and then they start chanting MJF, and then MJF starts to talk, and Jay says, "Shut up, we've heard you enough. Everyone wants to hear this sweet, exotic accent for a change." He said, I sent everyone to the back because you looked at us when it was 5-on-1 and you didn't want any piece of us. So now it's 1-on-1. And then MJF just shakes his head and he says, have you been smoking the smoking strong Colorado grass? Fans start chanting weed. These fans were on something tonight. Well, probably weed. He says, I'm about to yank out my ring. And he says, you've got mid-mic work. And you shouldn't be in here with the champ like that. He says, your first shot was a little hairy, almost as hairy as that pubic hair on your chin that you call a goatee. Fans start chanting pubic hair. And he says, Jay, hear me out. I've been compared to a lot of people. And sure, MJF is good, but he's not blank. As my star rose, the names got bigger. It never bothered me, Jay, till I read, sure, he's good, but he's not Jay White. And Jay's like, all happy, and the fans are chanting bullshit. And he says, I didn't understand why it bugged me, but standing in my ring in front of my beautiful pores, I realized something. I'm like a fine filet mignon. If it's on your plate, you can have other crap surrounding it, but it's all about the filet. When I'm here, the show is all about MJF. Nobody's on the level of the devil. I'm a generational talent. I'm like, at this point, I'm like sick of MJF. And this was not even close to being done.
No.
And I'm just like, I'm so tired of him doing that. When he was a heel, he was actually interesting. And as a babyface, he just says the same thing every single time. But anyways, he says, then there's you. You're very talented. And Jay says, thank you. And he says, even the smartest fans, you've convinced them you're on my level. But in your reality, you're tofu. And the fans start chanting tofu. And he says, the funny thing is about tofu, it takes on the flavor of whatever you want it to be. But you have to add something to it to trick yourself into thinking it has taste. You've been given everything. You got the cool entrance, the cool nickname. You got cool t-shirts, big match opportunities. You were handed the keys to one of the greatest factions of all time. But if I pluck it all away, I'm left with nothing but boring, blank, tasteless tofu. And fans chanting tofu again. He says, here you are, Jay, trying to hop on my plate. And I don't even mind. I see through you. You're all hype. Nothing more than an intelligently produced version of what someone in Japan thought was a top guy. Allow me to give you advice. If I were you, I'd leave this ring and I wouldn't talk smack to my precious pores. If you don't, for the rest of your career, when your names are mentioned in the same sentence, sure, Jay White is good, but he's not Maxwell Jacob Friedman because I'm better than you and you know it. Breath.
Would you like me to break this down or do you want to? Okay.
You can break it down and then I'll get into Jay White's rebuttal.
Yeah. This is bad for this reason. It has nothing to do with the in-ring. It has everything to do with character presentation. And you don't want to cut promos on character presentation. You want to cut promos on I can beat you in the ring. Because this is This is very Rock at his peak. And it buries the guy you're in the ring with. It's Samoa Joe fat jokes. It's that kind of level. But they basically have now called him boring.
Well, and I will say, like, I'm a guy that has very famously in this little universe we have said I'm not a Jay White fan. I canceled my New Japan subscription when he won the title. That's how much of, and everything MJF said here about Jay White is what I felt. And you don't want to be telling your fans, and he's actually getting over right now. And
yes.
you're telling your fans, oh no, this guy's nothing.
They're going to chant tofu at him.
Yes.
Now.
Yep.
He is damaged right now. There is no way to get around that. And the first line he says is, your mic skills are mid. That promo was mid. And you're just, what? No. You need to. This is where Jeff goes back to his territory days.
You know what this was? This was Cena cutting a promo on Austin Theory before WrestleMania.
Yes. Oh, look at you. You're boring. What are you doing?
Yeah.
You need to build up your opponent. And look, Jay didn't help him, but this thing was terrible for Jay White. And I don't understand how they approve this at all. You have pubic hair they're going to chant pubic hair at the guy now.
They're going to chant tofu, like no doubt.
Chant
and
tofu.
he's going to make a shirt out of it.
There's going to be a shirt that or they're going to make something like a cardboard cutout of it with it.
Yeah.
This is very Jericho and WWE every week trying to get over a catchphrase type of thing. This combines a lot of bad aspects of the boys that they say that they're not up north. That's what this was. And I really did not like this.
Well, plus you also had him sitting there for 10 minutes talking.
And Jay White just taking it.
Yep.
He's sitting there. He's not selling it. He's not doing. And this is why they should not do these types of promos.
Is it my turn now? Oh, okay, great. Give me the mic, and now I'll do the same to you.
Yes.
And you'll sit there and take it.
Yes. And they should look. Just get Tony, do a promo into the camera, and leave. That's what you should be doing. But no, we have to have this dialogue thing. And now you may do Jay White's rebuttal.
Yes. So Jay White applauds him, and he says, "Thank you. That's what I came out for." My own MJF experience.
Oh, look at you, Phil Hendry, doing the voices. Okay, go ahead.
I'm a little let down. Crowds chanting tofu. Something's a little off about you. I don't know if it's the injuries. I think you're distracted by your little bromance. I bet you'd wish they'd say baby for you like they do Cole. They don't love you like they love Cole. Crowds chanting for MJF. He says, I forgot, they're slow here. Tells the crowd, I'm talking to you. Shh. This situation is my fault. If I didn't temporarily end his career, you wouldn't be tagging together. You wouldn't become best buds. You don't win the Ring of Honor tag belts. You don't main event Wembley. His ankle's broken and it's your fault. The crowd's like, ooh, I'm sure your neck isn't really feeling good, is it? I've been ruining your life from afar for a little while. I'm here to ruin it now, up close and personal in the flesh. You call yourself the devil? Well, Mr. Devil, you'll need to find another level that doesn't exist for you to stop me from taking this from you. The AEW World Champ doesn't seem so elite when you're compared to me. He brings up selling out MSG and United Center, blah, blah, blah. I'm the only Grand Slam that matters. The catalyst of pro wrestling. I, not you, will be a truly elite champion when I pull it away from your carcass. You can go sob with all your little pores because you're just like them. You're their scumbag. Fans are chanting, shut the fuck up. At the end of the day, you'll have them, they'll have you, and I'll have that Triple B, baby. You can all breathe with the switchblade because it's still my era. Because MJF, you've gone soft and you know it. You want to say anything about MJF? Or about Jay White?
Yes. By the way, lovely accent. I can't do accents for damn. So
well, I think it was more Zack Sabre.
Well, you're doing a little Costner there, losing the accent at times and coming back in. This was also bad. Because Jay White needed a point to focus on and he didn't have it. And he was struggling for it. And this felt try hard to me.
Yeah.
This felt like, and you could tell where it's like midway through, he goes, I got to bring the energy up on this promo now. And he's going to start doing that. Like he's like being charismatic and stuff, but it was failing. It was coming off as try hard. this promo had to be about how he's here because he was the greatest wrestler internationally, and he's coming in to take the title. That's it. None of this character stuff. None of the bromance. He did
get there at the end, like Matt
said. He got there, but it took way too long to get there. And how he was like one of the most decorated champions Japan had ever seen. And he's been destroying people for years, and he needed to put the fear of God in Max, and he didn't put the fear of God in Max. He made witty comments about the storyline and stuff. No.
Yeah. No. Do you think he was he kind of gotten to by the fans a little bit? Do you think maybe?
No, I think here's how this was scripted. Hey, MJF's witty and funny on the mic. Jay White's witty and funny on the mic. Let's see who can top the other. And it really needed to be a little bit more. All right. Who is the Jay Switchblade White character in terms of this universe in AEW? As opposed to, he's a name that we knew from Japan who's a very good wrestler. What is his motivation of being in AEW? What is his motivation for being in America as opposed to staying in New Japan, for example? What does he want here? What is his goals, and how does he go about it? And instead, we got this is like that part at there was a comedy show I used to watch at nights where it would be like, and like halfway through the show, all the stand-up comedians would start doing the dozens on each other as kind of a battle to see who could win and stuff like that. And it just, and half the time, half those guys were ill prepared. That's what this felt like. This felt like, oh, Jay White will be able to go tete-a-tete with some of MJF's witticisms, and MJF had no and Switchblade had no material.
The problem is, I think MJF needs to start showing ass on some of this stuff.
Yeah,
he needs to let guys get stuff in on him. And I think the idea was that he did, except he really didn't. But the last line is where MJF kind of snapped, and then he kind of like, we got some quote unquote real emotion.
You cut your jokes, MJF. I'm gonna cut your throat. That kind of thing.
Yeah, there you go.
And
on the
that
switch,
line,
there's
that line switches the entire tone. And
it fits with his character too.
Fits with his character. Yeah, that would be the pitch I'd do right there. I go, there's your opening line, Jay White, and just go from there. And that's your mantra, is that you are here to kill this champion and take his title from him and run this place. The time for jokes is over on Collision when you're with your boys, but when you're here standing face to face with MJF, you are all business, and you are here to take his title. And this is a man's ring. And if you want to do open mic night, go to the Chuckle Hut,
and then MJF, like that last line about going soft, he kind of snapped, and he says, "You don't have a goddamn clue what I'm capable of. So why don't I show you?"
Yeah, when was he ever tough? Because he's always fluked his way out of things.
The same thing happened when Cole called him soft, and he snapped. And then he agreed, I think at the first time to.
But he's soft. That's part of the character.
Well, he used to be. I think now he's not.
Oh, because of the Danielson
because
match?
of the bromance. Well, no, this is after Danielson.
Well, no. But I mean, Danielson made him hard. I could do a no or like no holds barred match or whatever, and now I'm, and now you're thinking I'm soft because of the bromance or something to that effect. Okay, great.
I guess. So he threw off his belt and he took off his shirt, and then Jay White just bailed. So someone here pointed out the Transferring Heat here mentioned that it's a 23-minute segment here. And I mean, it felt like every bit of that, if not longer. And none of it had a damn thing to do with the pay-per-view on Sunday.
None of it landed either. Yeah.
There's that. But I mean, I assume we're getting an MJF Jay White.
No, what this said was the pay-per-view is not important. What's important is the next program we're setting up here.
Yeah, and when is it going to be? I don't know. And the fact is, Tony only books 2 weeks out. So I mean, unless it's happening in the next 2 weeks, I mean, who knows? Are we actually going to get this match? I assume we will, but I don't know that, and I don't know when it's going to happen. I assume it's Full Gear.
I assume it's Full Gear, but
yeah, that's a long way away. That's 6 weeks away. People could get injured. Someone could jump off a stage and twist their ankle, or someone could be booked in a match with Rey Fénix, and get knocked out before the match starts. Like things happen. You don't want to book too far ahead.
Someone could cut a terrible promo.
Yeah, there's that.
And we lose faith in him.
Yeah, no, that's not gonna happen.
No, that's not gonna happen. I'm just saying.
We got the next segment was JR with Darby and Christian, and of course we got our AEW trope of no physicality allowed. It
took JR 5 minutes to say, "Nah, I brought you all here." And AEW said that there'll be no physical. Yes, JR, you're getting paid by the hour. We know you want your TV time. All right, just say that there's gonna be no fighting. All right, get to the point.
And he says we can't have physicality because Sunday's match is way too important for the company and for the careers of these two men. Times are changing, he says to Christian. Look who's the champ now. And Christian says, I've been the champ for months, and I proved I was superior when I successfully retained my belt on Saturday. And then he says, JR tells him, you lost to Darby twice. And what makes you think you can beat him 2 out of 3 falls? And Christian says, those were fluke pinfalls and they were non-title. He says, I'm going to walk out of Seattle as the TNT champion. You're nowhere near the man I am or the wrestler I am. You rely on your little skateboard and all your little tricks. He said, I asked for this match because I'm going to expose you when you have to wrestle. And then he asked him, is your uncle going to be in attendance? And Darby's like, no. And he says, your uncle sounded like a great guy. And he says, bringing up his 5-year-old nephew out on a joyride while he's intoxicated. And then Darby says, you think I'm afraid of dying? You think I'm afraid of losing in Seattle? I'm not losing in Seattle. I've won that belt before in Seattle. He says, and then Christian says, bring everyone, bring your mom, bring your dad, bring your brother, bring Nick Wayne's mom. Like, yeah, you know what? Bring Nick Wayne's mom. He says, bring Buddy. And it's like, oh, wait. And then Darby says, you only want me to bring Nick so you can take advantage of him. I'm going to tell him to stay home. Why don't you tell Luchasaurus to stay home too? And Christian doesn't agree to that. And he says, Nick Wayne needs a real man, not someone who hides his face. And then Darby gets all pissed off and he grabs water and he starts wiping the makeup off his face. He says, I'm not hiding behind this. And then he's all flustered. And Christian says, this is the last time we're going to fight. And he says, I'm the face of TNT and you better get used to it. And Darby was a little like, I don't know if he was like, he's either selling that he was flustered or he really was flustered. And I think maybe he was actually selling. Like, I thought Darby did a good job here.
Darby was trying to act. And I think he did okay.
Yeah, he's not bad.
Christian
got good instincts.
This is the Christian that Tony Khan paid money for. And
yeah. And
he's fantastic. He never drops character. He's always, and he did just all he has to do is scowl and say and talk about somebody's dead relative, and he's just perfect at it. He no sells any accusation and has a comeback for it immediately. He is so great. He is the guy I wanted in the ring with MJF after this. I gotta be honest with you in terms of the tete-a-tete stuff.
Matthew, our Patreon subscriber here, asked if Adam Copeland makes a save on Sunday. I don't think so.
No. I think he's full. I think he has a nice Legends deal on the side now.
Well, we'll find out soon. I think.
Yeah.
I think it's good though. I like this, and I think I don't know what's going to happen here because I don't know about beating Darby in his hometown, but I don't think he should take the title off Christian.
I think Nick Wayne's screwing him. I think this is the time.
That could be maybe Christian, and maybe he gets together with Nick's mom. And
I mean, I think Nick Wayne screws him, and maybe, and then
she screws Christian.
Well, no. Here's a stretch. Here's my stretch. Don't take the moms out of this, please. Jungle Boy gets reintroduced. Jack Perry, but this time as a baby face.
Yeah,
because he's been off TV. He's the man who vanquished Punk. That crowd will eat it up.
Yeah, that could be. I still want him to be in charge of the Jericho Appreciation Society, but I don't think that's happening.
No, I think we've moved on from that.
They're all together still, though, except for Sammy. You could do that, but yeah, I think you might be onto something there. And then
I think they're going to pivot here.
So we have a faction of Darby, Sting, and the Desert Man.
Yes.
Okay. I'm not going to drop that Desert Man thing, by the way.
I know.
It's too good. All right. Next up, we got a 4-way. And this is 4 guys that are in the 4-way tag on Sunday. Orange Cassidy, Austin Gunn, Matt Jackson, and Penta. This was basically the same match as that 3-way earlier. Not quite as good as it. Just a bunch of people doing.
Oh, this was the non-wrestling version of that 3-way.
Yeah. This
was sports entertainment Penta.
Yeah, and
this was doing a house show or a small indie on or doing a Mania weekend show where you have 12 different shows and you really don't want to work all that hard.
Austin Gunn doing comedy,
Austin Gunn and Penta doing their little shtick, and okay.
They had all these, like they did they had one spot where they all did the the Canadian Destroyers, and then Austin Gunn tried to do one and he couldn't, and then he got hit with one, and then they did a spot where 3 guys super kicked Austin, and then 2 guys super kicked Orange, and then Penta and Matt super kicked each other, and
they all fell down.
Yeah, and they all fell down at one point, and then they're all sitting there, and then finally Orange Cassidy hit the orange punch on Matt, and he got the pin. That was it. No stealing a pin, just Orange Cassidy gets the pin, because there's 4 teams in this, and only one of them is not an actual team. So they had to point out that Orange Cassidy and Hook, now they have all the momentum because Orange Cassidy won in this 4-way singles match. And I guess Orange Cassidy and Hook also won. They won that 6-person tag on Rampage as well.
Yes.
Over 2.0. I got to tell you, sidebar, I was so pissed off watching Collision on Saturday. And I'm sure some people listening to already know this. The first hour of Collision felt like a rerun of Rampage. We had a Christian, Darby, and Luchasaurus in the same match, which was also on Rampage. We got Hook and a tag team partner against 2.0. That was also on Rampage. We got a Julia Hart showcase match. That was also on Rampage. Then it picked up. We got the Jay White Andrade match. We got that main event. Like the second half of the show was really good. But the first part of the show, and then we got that stupid CJ Perry and Rusev segment. I don't know what the hell's going on there, but anyways, got that out of my system. But yeah, it was okay.
Yeah, I think the main event made up for it though.
The main event was great. Like overall, the show was really, really good. It's just I hated that first hour. I didn't hate the first hour. I just felt like I was wasting my time watching it.
No, and I get that, especially if you sat through the 2-hour Rampage.
That's the thing. If I hadn't watched Rampage, I think I would have loved Collision.
Yeah,
like but because I watched Rampage, I didn't like Collision as much.
Back to Dynamite.
Julia Hart and Willow Nightingale was next up, and we talked about this a little bit. So okay, one thing I gotta say. Willow comes out and her head's all taped up.
I tweeted a picture of Dengar from Empire Strikes Back.
I brought up my personal issues. My son had brain surgery on Monday. I saw him at the hospital today. He was not nearly as taped up as Willow Nightingale was here. From mist, I guess?
Yes, I'll defend this. The Black Mist.
Yeah.
At least they're trying to sell something as opposed to Moxley getting the crap beat out of him, coming back the next week full strength.
Well, she got misted, except we didn't actually see it happen.
No.
Apparently it happened backstage.
Something happened. Yeah,
something happened, and then something was so bad that she's
Julia Hart got misted and it lasted for 8 weeks.
That's true. That is no, I think it was a lot longer than that.
I do too. I think it was like a 6-month thing where like a symbiote grew inside of her, like Spider-Man on Secret Wars.
But it also made her very aggressive because she was taking it to Julia Hart through this whole match, and halfway through the match, the thing was starting to fall off of her, so you could see the makeup around her eye, and it looked like makeup. It didn't,
Yeah.
So it was kind of weird that way, but it didn't really affect her because they said she had one eye, and she definitely did not have one eye. She was wrestling pretty darn good for someone that apparently had one eye, but she was beating the crap out of Julia leading into the commercial, and then they go.
I mean, PCO wrestled with one eye for years. What do you want?
Still is, I think. So they go outside the ring, and then Willow accidentally like ran into Brody, and so she's kind of like doing a standoff with him, Brody King, I should say, and Julia clipped her knee from behind. Then she hit a hidden blade, and they went to commercial. They come back. This is where they announced the Rampage matches: Acclaimed and Daddy Ass against the Hardys and Brother Zay Ruby and Shida, and the winner gets a world title match. And Kingston defending the New Japan Strong title against Rocky Romero, which is a slap in the face of the fans of Seattle because they were supposed to have that in Defy, and now it's just on some random Rampage. And so they get back to the match. Fans are actually chanting for Julia, which surprised me. She goes for a submission move, which she calls Heartless, but Willow made the ropes, and then Willow hit her with a pounce, and the bump Julia took for this pounce did not look good. That was the only down thing in the match. I hope she's okay because she kind of landed like flat on her ass. And then she went for the stampede and she hung Julia in the corner. And then she went and she did like a run towards her. And then Julia kind of pulled herself up at the last minute. Looked really good. And then she's on the top rope and she did an awesome moonsault press and got the win. And I thought this match was really good. Like, one of the better Julia Hart matches you'll ever see. Maybe the best.
I'd agree with that statement. No, really.
No.
Julia Hart doesn't have a long litany of great matches in this company.
She has not lost since April of 2022.
She's the new Goldberg.
Yeah.
I would love for Willow to stop doing the pounce. I think, or at least wait until you're working with people who know how to take the pounce.
Yes.
Because I've seen too many of these where I know they're giving them instructions to, I guess, throw their body at the same time, but a lot of them don't have the control that I forget who did, but somebody landed on their neck. I think it was Anna Jay when she took it, or Kira Hogan, one of those two. And you're just like, all right, we need.
And so Julie was probably afraid of doing that, so she overcompensated and ended up landing on her tailbone.
Yeah. There are some people like Tony Storm can take the pounce. Ruby Riott Ruby Soho can take the pounce. Veterans can take the pounce. Julia's more character than wrestler, and this was a great way to end. We got
she plays her character so well.
And Brody is going to take a bump from Chris Statlander in this match, which is going to be the to get Chris over as a powerhouse, which will be fine.
I think Julia's winning the title.
Oh, I don't. There is no way in hell they are to give that title to Julia Hart over Chris Statlander.
Bet you 25 cents. I think she's winning the title on Sunday.
Oh my God. No.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
No.
Yeah, I think so. We'll find out.
So that means she has to defend the title almost every week.
No. They only do one women's match a week.
Okay.
Or no, one women's show.
Well, there are 3 shows.
No, she can do. She'll
be the TBS champ, won't she? Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So she'll be
so that she would be on TBS. Okay.
Yeah, she can do like one little 3-minute match or whatever. No, you know what? I actually
her in Sky Blue for eternity.
There you go.
What we need.
There you go. Bring Red Velvet back.
I would belt Red Velvet over Julia Hart.
There's a little stable in OVW they could bring in Layla Gray, Jada Stone, and Tiffany Nieves. They're awesome.
I'm always here for more Layla Gray.
These 3 are an awesome unit. I'll send you a picture. So this was this was all right. So after the match, she attacked Willow. She's putting her in that Heartless move. Chris Statlander made the save, and then Julia slides out of the ring and she gets behind Brody King, and Statlander just stood up to him, and that was pretty cool.
Yeah, and we are so close to doing intergender, aren't we?
I don't think they'll get there, but
but Chris Statlander will be able to hit one big move on Brody King. Yeah, just for the pop.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we can get women doing stuff to men. We just can't get the other way around.
Yeah.
So we got our rundown, but we also had a bunch of technical difficulties. So I got Best Friends in Kingdom on Collision, and then I think you said it's Juice Robinson and
Andrade Alito.
Andrade, and then there's an 8-man tag with Zack Sabre Jr. on commentary.
Yes.
All right, and then so we got our WrestleDream card. Bryan Danielson against Zack Sabre Jr., Takeshita, Sammy, and Will Ospreay against Chris Jericho, Omega, and Kota Ibushi. Eddie Kingston versus Shibata for, I think it's all 3 belts.
It's for everything.
All 3 belts. Okay, so it's the New Japan Strong, the Kingston's ROH World title, and the ROH Pure title. So it's basically a unification match for the ROH belts. Ricky Starks and Wheeler Yuta, no belts. MJF against the Righteous in a handicap match for the Ring of Honor tag team titles. FTR and Aussie Open for the AEW tag team titles. Chris Statlander and Julia Hart for the TBS title. The Young Bucks, the Guns, the Lucha Bros, and Orange Cassidy and Hook for a shot at, I believe, the AEW World Tag Team titles.
Yes.
Okay. Christian and Darby for the TNT title, and Swerve and Hangman Page for no titles, just for Hangman spot.
And this will be, according to Tony Khan, the start of a new era of AEW?
Yes, he is promising a new era. He was asked on the conference call to clarify what he meant, and he said, I will not do that because I want people to buy my pay-per-view. Good answer, Tony.
I agree.
Yes.
Now let's recklessly speculate.
Okay. I will say that it is a new media rights deal, and it also ties in with Ring of Honor titles being merged in with AEW titles, and we're going to be having a bunch of unification matches coming. That's what I think the new era is.
So we're going to get rid of Ring of Honor once and for all.
No, it'll still be around. It just we're only going to have AEW titles. So Ring of Honor will basically just be a developmental.
So there was no point to having any of those titles. Okay. I actually think that's going to involve New Japan somehow.
Well, there is speculation that he's bought New Japan.
I don't think it's he bought New Japan.
But a stronger partnership?
Stronger partnership, business partnership. Maybe he's bought half of New Japan. And maybe New Japan and Ring of Honor titles are merging.
Yeah.
Ring of Honor, maybe. I don't know.
Could be talent related.
It could be talent related a lot too. Yeah, it's weird because I thought there'd be more New Japan talent on this show, but you got Shibata,
you got Will and Zach,
and you got Ibushi, although Ibushi's not really New Japan.
No, and neither is Shibata actually.
No. What if he? See, I was thinking maybe acquire New Japan World. That would have been
good.
Fun.
Good point from Matt here. New Japan upgrading their streaming platform could be related.
I think it is. I think there's something to that, and I think it might be an influx of cash from AEW in some way.
That could be. And then maybe you get AEW content on that service. Maybe, who knows? Well, it is in Japan already.
Hey, Japan, get ready for Tony Khan booking your stuff.
Oh God. Maybe he's involved with New Japan USA.
Well, maybe we're forming something like an NWA type of loose confederation with.
I'm still going with what I said. I think it's more to do with Ring of Honor, but and in the new era, because the 4-year contract that they originally signed actually expires. Now they did get the 1-year extension, so they could announce a new media rights deal and maybe with the pay-per-views. So I think what's going to happen is that Ring of Honor, that you've heard that December pay-per-view that's been rumored, right? Yes. And it is going to be on a Friday. Now, maybe that would be the Ring of Honor Supercard of Honor. Maybe that's going to be rebranded as AEW/ROH Supercard of Honor. And that's where we're going to get all the titles merged.
Man, where you'll see all the stars of AEW and all the stars of AEW who do ROH.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and that'd be a hell of a card. Like, if you actually look at the champions, I mean, you'd get MJF against Eddie Kingston. You'd get FTR against whoever's going to be the tag team champs, probably the Kingdom. You'd have, like the TNT title. You get Samoa Joe against Rey Fénix or whoever's going to have that belt. There's actually the Young Bucks. So
Hangman it'd be like any random Dynamite that you get for the most part. But yeah, okay.
Except I
understand your point. Though.
It's actually a big card, It just dawned on me. Hangman is actually a champion. I don't even think he had his belt with him, but him.
No, he's a Ring of Honor. He's a Ring of Honor Trios champion.
Yeah,
it's a prestigious award, Paul.
It is. All right.
They should carry a leg lamp down with those Trios titles.
We'll do our quick predictions after we recap this main event segment.
Prediction.
We'll have a few minutes.
Pain.
Yeah. So we got the main event contract signing with. Hangman and Swerve. Elite and Mobile Embassy were all barred from ringside, and Renee was there hosting this contract segment, and she asked Hangman to sign the contract first. So he's just going to sign this contract. Oh man, this is going to be quick. But Swerve grabs the mic and he says, "I'm really impressed with the fire you've shown, but it's too late. We're 4 days out," and he says, "You're better to get it right on the approach than on the landing." And which ironic because that's kind of what AEW did with their pay-per-view build here. He says, do you understand what you're walking into? You're walking into Seattle, Swerve's house, the 12th man. And, they did chant, whose house, Swerve's house. But the crowd was...
They were almost hijacking this segment at one point.
We'll get to that. It's when he brought up the football teams. That is when they started hijacking things. But
no, they were doing it before, and then he pulled out the whose house, Swerve's house, and they stopped doing it for a while until they started doing the cheap heat with the sports team.
Yeah, I just thought they were kind of like, ever since that MJF segment, they were just kind of just trying to figure out how to amuse themselves.
Yes,
with chants and stuff. So, because Swerve stumbled over his lines here for a bit, and then he says, "I'm nothing like you." He says, "You're not the wrestler I am. I'll never be the wrestler you are. What's a farmer to a mogul? What's a buckshot to a kill shot?" Which, of course, is a reference to his name in Lucha Underground, which I'm sure at least 15 people in the crowd got. And Hangman, he says, "It sounds like you're fired up and you should be." Hangman said that. Sorry. "It sounds like you're fired up and you should be." He says, "Your words stung me." He said, "I want to thank you for saying what you did. You pointed out they haven't got new gear. I've hardly had t-shirts come out, but there's something up with me." He says, "I knew it. For a year and a half, every day I came to work, I felt like there was a black cloud I couldn't get rid of." And I'm like, it dawned on me. He's talking about CM Punk. And he said, "Sure, the sun would shine." He said, "I beat Mox in a Texas death match. I reunited with my friends in the Elite, and I felt like I should have been the happiest man in the world. But every time I smiled, that cloud came back. At first it annoyed me, then it pissed me off. I couldn't do anything about it. And as long as God let it rain on me, I didn't dare open it." And he said, "That's over with. I've weathered the storm. I'm still here," he says. He's totally 100% talking about CM Punk.
Yes.
I don't know if anybody got it, but I definitely did.
He's talking about Punk, but I thought it was leading to something else. But okay, I'll tell you what it was after you finish. Yeah. Well, no, right, so no. Swerve, I mean a specific thing that I thought he was going to do, but he didn't. But continue.
Okay. Swerve laughed at him, and the crowd started chanting "cowboy shit." He says, "That was beautiful." He says, "No, you know what? It was actually the most pathetic thing I've ever seen. More pathetic than the Broncos lost last week. They lost 70-20. It was not pathetic. More pathetic. It was not more pathetic than the Broncos lost." No. And then he says, "Thank God we got that piece of trash out of Seattle and left him here in this dump." That was a great line.
I love that line, actually. That was funny.
And he says, "I'm going to level with you. This isn't personal between you and I. You could have been anyone. You just happen to have the position I want. Truth be told, I really have some mental issues, and I'm going to take it out on you. And, oh, by the way, it rains a lot in Seattle, too." And then Hangman says, "Swerve, you tell me that you want this spot. You want to be a main event guy in AEW. You told me that if you had the opportunities I did, you'd have been the first black AEW world champ. I don't know. Maybe you would. We could sit here back and forth all day about whether those opportunities were handed to me or if I earned them." He says, "But every opportunity I ever had, I've knocked it out of the park." Fans are chanting cowboy shit again. He says, "So Swerve, you tell me you want this spot. You should want this spot, because if you want to look me in the eye and tell me you have what it takes to fill my boots, you don't." And then Swerve slapped him and he signed the contract. And as he's signing the contract, Hangman stabbed him with a pen, and they start brawling, and security separated them as the credits started to roll. And yes, I thought they nailed the landing, but everything getting there was...
I thought for certain Paige was going to break out a bottle of Jack and drink from it and say, "I'm back, baby." That kind of thing. That's what it felt like he was leading to.
Not quite there yet.
Not quite there. If we could eliminate 90% of "the boss likes you better, so you had more opportunities than I did" out of wrestling promos, wrestling would be 100% better. Yeah. I am sick of that shit. Pardon my French. I don't like to cuss, but I have to now, because it's like one of those things where it's like, can we stop with that? Tony likes you better, so you're going to get more title opportunities. Well, when I did, I knocked it out of the park. Well, okay, you're just admitting he's right that you're getting opportunities.
But I guess the insinuation is that Swerve wouldn't. I needed something here from Hangman pointing out how Swerve has had opportunities and he's fumbled. He's had big matches in AEW and he's lost.
Or he was the tag team champion. They both have fumbled opportunities. Let Hangman own up to his, and then turn to Swerve and go, "And now let's talk about the opportunities you've wasted," and then go into that.
Yeah. Matt points out that Punk started doing this stuff, but guys were even doing it in WWE before Punk, and now we don't see this in
you got
WWE
the corner
as
office
much.
And I didn't, and I'm a better that kind of thing. It's office politics crap, and I'm tired of it.
Yeah. But again, they kind of closed off well. They had the heated, thing.
Although is Swerve going to be selling that his hand was stabbed by a pen?
I hope so. Don Callis
that thing better be wrapped up in Bob Orton.
Don Callis
style.
on Collision had like 15 rolls of tape around his hand from punching Jericho.
Yes, because he is a manager and made a paper mache. Yeah, exactly. That's how it should be.
He's the best. This was they got there at the end. You definitely want to see them. I think they booked themselves into a bit of a corner because Matt makes a good point here. Fans are ready for Swerve to be a main eventer. He loves Hangman, but they need to pull the trigger on Swerve on Sunday. And I think after this promo, I don't see how they can beat Hangman. But they're in Seattle. It's Swerve's hometown.
They're gonna screw him. And it's gonna be one of those. Well, see, Swerve won in his hometown, and people are gonna cheer it, but Hangman doesn't show any ass out of it. So they're gonna try and split the baby here, and I don't think it's gonna work.
Yeah, it could be tough.
You know what's gonna happen? Keith Lee's gonna come out.
Oh God. Yeah, where's Keith Lee?
Brooding somewhere probably.
No doubt.
Yeah, I think they have painted themselves into a bit of a corner, but there's always, there's the trope of just having Hangman being all in his feels and going off and having to think about it. It works. I hate to say it, but as a character choice, it works all the time. So yeah, have him go and be mopey on a ranch somewhere, and then somebody hands him a glass of bourbon, and he's fine.
That's exactly what Matt suggested here. He gets down to where he's drinking again. And then, it'd be like the reverse. Everyone else starts drinking again. They're declining, but Hangman, it's like Popeye spinach.
There's an episode of it's an old sitcom, but it's one of my favorite written shows ever. It is by stand-up comedian Christopher Titus. It's called Titus, and Stacy Keach plays his father, who's an alcoholic. And they do an intervention to make him start drinking again because he's just not the same guy to be around.
Well, they did that on The Simpsons too with Barney.
Yeah.
Remember? Yeah. When he
that's what they're gonna do. Is it's gonna be the Elite trying to get Hangman to start drinking again.
Yeah.
Maybe, being the Elite or something like that.
So I mentioned that they, during this brawl, they put the credits on the screen. So you thought the show was over, but no. To the back.
No, the Lollipop Guild's in the back beating up Jay White.
Yeah, so they go to the back, and we get this long shot of a bunch of people in black outfits beating up somebody, and I couldn't tell who it was at first. And then eventually they showed that it was Jay White, and and you got these 5 skinny guys, not too tall, beating on Jay White. Jay White's a heel.
You have guys that look like they're from Ring of Honor beating up Jay White.
Yeah. It was the Kingdom, and it was
Roddy, and it was Adam Cole.
Yeah. And beating up Jay White. Now, again, I'm not exactly I should point out, one of them had a devil's mask that MJF has worn in the past, and they focused on that, and that guy pushed the camera away. I don't know, man. A couple people have mentioned that Swerve wasn't really born in Seattle. He's from
Baltimore. Yeah,
he grew up in Baltimore.
He grew up in Baltimore, I think.
I'm baffled by this though, because Jay White's a heel.
Yes.
And he was attacked by 5 dudes.
Yes. Or 4.
4 or 5, whatever it was. I've seen both. I thought I counted 4. The Wrestling Observer write-up has 5.
Okay, so maybe they're right. They might be correct.
No, I think they're probably wrong.
Okay, see, we're better than you, baby.
Yeah, and baby. And you know it. So I don't know. Is it that obvious, or are they swerving us?
It'd be funny if it turned out to be the Guns and
yeah,
but it's not.
the Guns and Juice. No, you
the Guns and Juice, but I don't think it is.
Jay White attacking himself. Maybe one of them was the cardboard.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be FTR.
I think it's one of those things where villain group meets villain group, and we want to show who the bigger and bad guys are.
These guys are still going to be babyfaces. So if let's say it is Kingdom and Cole and Roddy, and we've mentioned it could be Kyle O'Reilly. See, I think it's not Cole. I think it's actually Roddy, the Kingdom, and Kyle O'Reilly.
Okay.
And they're working for MJF.
That's fine. I'll take it.
But then where does that leave Adam Cole? Well, maybe Adam Cole's injured. And we're
the return of Bobby Fish. That's what we've gotten.
Is it possible that Adam Cole's not really injured?
Yes. I thought so from the get-go. I think he might pull a Kevin Nash because they love doing their tribute spots.
Yeah.
He comes out and they pull off the blanket and he doesn't have a reason to really not under a cast.
He was, I will say last week when they did the thing at the end, he was like, if he was working, he did a really good job because he looked like he was trying to hide.
No, he was not working. I don't think he was working when he jumped off the ramp.
No, but when he was like walking around in the ring, like he was like, he could not stop holding the ropes.
No, I thought he had blown out his knee.
But maybe it was just like he pulled something and
I think he tweaked his ankle because there was a listener of ours who came up and said the type of shoes he was wearing have no ankle support on them. He was wearing I think Jordan 1s.
Yeah.
But when they came back and said he broke his ankle in 3 places, I went, that was not if he would not have been walking if he had broken his ankle in 3 places. That is not that kind of injury. So to me, that smells like work.
He most likely twisted his ankle.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. And that is relatively minor. You can recover from that.
You can still, weeks. I mean, like Britt has posted pictures and it's yellow and purple. And that's what happens when you twist an ankle. Yeah. Pretty bad.
Yeah, that happened to me when I was a kid.
Yeah.
All right. So let's start there. What do you think happens on that match on Sunday? MJF against the Righteous.
See, it was weird because I thought actually they might put in Big Show or Roddy as MJF's partner to go up against the Righteous.
I didn't think Big Show, but I thought maybe Roddy.
I think, boy, I could see a case for the Righteous winning these titles by getting screwed by those demons. I really could, but I think the Kingdom are the ones who are going to pull the ultimate fastball on him, and that's how Cole takes the title off of MJF. So I don't know. You don't know. I just don't know.
Yeah, I think
it feels like he win. I mean, he shouldn't win by a kangaroo kick, but that feels like what's going to happen here.
If he beats them by himself, then they're done. They're done. I mean. Yeah,
Cole's at ringside and they do a double clothesline at the edge of the ropes on Dutch and pin him.
Yeah. I think that maybe what's going to happen is the guys in the thing are going to attack MJF and he's going to end up losing.
Oh no, I think what they do is they attack the Righteous and then MJF wins.
DQ?
No, MJF wins. But you all think that the demons are on his side, and then eventually they turn on him later. This is the setup. This is the swerve part. They go, okay,
that could
we're establishing these guys as allies of MJF, but they really aren't.
All right. Danielson and Zack Sabre. I mean, obviously Danielson's got to win, right, in Seattle?
No. Well, okay, yeah, Seattle, yeah. I think this is going to be 1-1. I could see a case for Zack Sabre Jr. winning this one in Seattle and then Danielson getting a chance to get it back in Japan
or Wembley. Although I think he's going to wrestle Ospreay in Wembley, but
yeah, I think it's going to be Japan for one of the big shows. So I think
Wrestle Kingdom.
Yeah, but
is this for Zack's title? I can't remember.
I haven't heard that, but if it is, I don't think Danielson
very
wins
poorly promoted if it is.
Although no, if it is for Zach's title, then Danielson wins the title here and then loses it in Japan.
Probably, yeah. I think he's the New Japan Television Champion.
Yeah,
if I'm remembering right. Don Callis family against Jericho, Omega, and Ibushi. I think Callis's family has to win, but they're they seem hotter. But
if Guevara's not really in the family, then Guevara takes the pin. But
I'm
they beat the Bucks already, and they beat Hangman, Omega, and Ibushi already. So
who did?
Or no, what am I thinking of?
I have no idea. None of these guys have wrestled.
Takeshita won a tag team. Oh, Takeshita won the tag team match with Jericho. That's what I was thinking of.
I think Omega's team's got to lose because Omega's on a losing streak.
Yes, and they got to continue the streak, and Omega has to take the pin.
Yeah, probably to Takeshita again. Most
likely. Yes.
Yeah. Possibility of Sammy pinning Jericho too, which would be a smart move after the heel turn. Eddie Kingston and Shibata. I don't see them beating Eddie.
It's Kingston all the way.
Yeah. Ricky Starks and Wheeler. I mean, God bless Wheeler Yuta, but you're not beating
Starks needs a win at this point.
Yeah, definitely. FTR and Aussie Open. I can't imagine FTR not retaining.
I can.
Yeah? Okay.
I can imagine them, but I don't think they will.
You know what's funny? When they lost the second match, I told you on this show they're probably wrestling for the tag team titles and they're probably going to win them. And you were like, no.
Well, no, and that's how they redeem them is okay. You took those losses and now you get the title shot thing. But I think FTR deserves to have these titles still. That answers Heyman. That answers Heyman all the way.
I disagree.
Heyman does more for that act.
Okay, put it this way. I will say over the last 3 months, Callis has been better. I wouldn't say for the whole year, but Heyman's just kind of phoning it in right now. Like literally phoning it in with this phone.
No. Callis is better right now, but Heyman's been better throughout the year.
Over the whole year, Heyman may be better, but and we've still got 3 more
Heyman
months left.
Sold the entire bloodline thing for most of this year. So.
Yeah. But Callis right now is better. All right, what do we got left?
Callis right now has more interesting story, so that helps.
Chris Statlander and Julia Hart. We've said this one. I think Julia's winning. You think Stat's retaining?
Mm-hmm.
All right. We got 25 cents on that one, I think. Bucks and the Guns and Lucha Bros and Orange Cassidy and Hook for a tag team title shot. So the tag team title shot's against FTR. I think the Guns are winning.
I was thinking the same thing. I think this is the Guns.
Yeah, because I mean they got that win at All Out, and they should get a win here. So my brain says the Guns. My head says, or that's part of my head. Brain's in my head, isn't it?
What do your loins say, Paul?
I have a funny feeling the Bucks are winning, but I really hope they don't.
You know what?
I would go with the Guns.
If FTR win, or if FTR loses the titles to Aussie Open, I think the Bucks win this match.
Yes, yeah, but I mean, I think this match will happen
to win the tag titles. To win the tag titles at Full Gear.
Whoever wins this probably tells you who's going to win the tag team title match.
Yes,
assuming this match happens first.
Yes.
Yeah.
Remember, Full Gear is in LA.
Yeah.
So they might decide to hand the belts back to the Bucks in LA.
That could be. Christian and Darby for the TNT title. I think Christian's retaining.
Christian and Nick Wayne turns heel.
Yeah, in the third fall. And Swerve and Hangman. This is a tough one, but I'm going with Hanger.
You going with Hanger? I thought you were going with Swerve.
No, Matt Burrell's going with Swerve. Oh. I'm Hangman all the way. I can't see them beating.
I'm going with Swerve.
Okay. All right. Well,
I'm not
Seattle.
confident about that, but I think
I don't see all the Seattle people winning. I guess we already called Christian losing. So you know what? If Christian retains the
Darby's losing in Seattle.
Yeah, then you know what? Then I don't think
somebody from Seattle has to win.
I don't think they're beating Darby and Hangman. So yeah, you might be right. I
don't think they're beating both Danielson. I don't think they're beating Danielson, Swerve, and Darby all in.
No, I think Danielson's winning.
Okay.
But I do think Darby's losing. And,
okay.
2 out of 3 ain't bad. So probably Hangman, probably Swerve wins then. But I don't like Hangman losing. But
I don't either.
Because
I think Hangman needs to be pushed as an alpha baby.
But again, this also could be the start of a feud, in which case,
yes,
the heel would win, and then Hangman will win the next one, and then win the third one, and then go back to brooding for 6 months. All right. Well, that's all. I keep wanting to call it All Out WrestleDream, and Kevin Ely from the Boom and I will be doing a post-game show on Sunday night following the pay-per-view. So we'll be live on this YouTube channel. It'll be I think that's this week's Boom, but I don't know if Kevin and James are doing another Boom. I'm not positive. We'll probably know on Sunday. So but I don't think James is getting this show based on listening to the Boom this week.
No.
Yeah, so that's probably
James will be watching his Saints play, and he'll be fine with that.
Yeah, and WrestleDream is not. What did he say? This is the show that if I had friends coming over, I would not order it.
Yeah, I'd be ashamed to order it.
His reaction when Kevin started reading some of these matches to him, I was just dying laughing. He's like, and then when Kevin was reading off the participants in the world title tournament that they had a little while ago, and he's like, Nick Wayne, and James is like, oh God. Like, just like every time they mention somebody, and then Trent Beretta, and he's like, you could tell James is like, okay, well, he's a good wrestler because he's like, that's his gimmick that he likes the best friends. But Matt's going for the show, right? Matt, he's in Seattle, so he can listen to us on the way home. Hopefully, just fire up the YouTube app and you can hear us, and you could even join in if you want. And that match you were trying to think of was the 6-man at Wembley. Earlier. All right, Jeff, take us home, buddy.
Follow me at CrapGame13. I do a show on the Voices of Wrestling podcasting network with Chris Novembrino. He's not in the bubble. I am, called Shake Them Ropes. This week, be previewing the aforementioned WrestleDream. Will it be dreamier by the time we get there? And also, NXT No Mercy in Bakersfield. Was the go-home show enough for me to drive an hour and a half out to Bakersfield to go watch? Maybe. That'll drop sometime, hopefully Friday night, if not sometime Saturday, on all your podcasting things. And I'm on here. That's what I do. Oh, did I say follow me at CrapGame13? Yes. Arcane references, bad jokes, trolling right Paul there. Occasionally. I do that. Oh yeah.
Right there on the screen.
Thank you.
I'm trying to point to it.
Well, I'm letting the people on audio know.
Oh, okay, gotcha. I am at Paulie's Fontaine on the old Xbox machine, and I'll be, as I said, doing the post game show of All Out, WrestleJoy, Wrestle Kingdom, WrestleDream on Sunday night, probably about 20 minutes after the show ends, so you can listen to Kevin and I break that down.
By the way, that was my favorite part of James, is continually calling it WrestleJoy.
Yeah, which is, I believe, a website.
Yes.
So but I'm looking forward to the show. Actually, I think it's going to be a hell of a show. I feel it's going to be long, but other than that, I think we're going to enjoy it. So hopefully we'll have some good stuff to talk about. And usually on these post-game shows, I'm pretty hyped up and I'm not very critical. So, if you didn't like this show, you'll probably like that one. So for Jeff, I've been Paul, and this has been the Dynamite Show. Later.